How many times have you searched Google for the best types of supplements for anxiety, the best brands, only to become more confused? 88 Herbs, the main sponsor for this episode of the Anxiety Guy podcast, makes finding the right supplement for your anxiety easy for you. 88 Herbs specializes in finding the highest quality and most potent natural ingredients in the world, and using only these in each of their products. They have thousands of loyal customers all over the world, and Dennis himself, as well as most of the Anxiety Guide team, have used these very supplements on their road to recovery from anxiety. A powerful anxiety supplement is an essential sidekick to a great CBT program, and this winning combination has led to thousands of success stories around the world. Go to www.88herbs.com and use the promo code ANXIETY88 to get 15% off your entire order today.
Warriors, welcome to episode number 64 of the Anxiety Guy podcast. I'm Dennis Simsek. Today we're talking about depersonalization and anxiety. What is it? Where does it come from? What keeps it going? I want to tackle this today because this is a subject that not many people know about. I've been to numerous doctors, naturopaths, therapists, you name it, and not many people can tell me the link. First of all, if you've never gone through it, it's very difficult to understand. It's very difficult to treat. So I want you guys to understand that with me, for instance, during my recovery, I felt that depersonalization was a completely different thing from anxiety. That's false, first and foremost. If you have that belief, we've got to change that belief. I've worked with thousands of people online who have chronic anxiety, health anxiety, GAD, and when the symptom, in fact, lessened, it was because the worry lessened. It was because the respect towards the critical thinking mind lessened. It was because the worry over financial, job-related, relationship-related issues lessened. People changed their belief systems. People change their behaviors, people change their perceptions, depersonalization subsided. This I can tell you firsthand, okay? Now, let's understand first and foremost that depersonalization is a state when the mind feels divorced or distant from the sense of self. It refers to a condition of excessive self-awareness marked by feelings of floating or being outside the body, and a consciousness that disowns one's own actions. Now, guys, in most cases, depersonalization is believed to be a brain's coping mechanism, which becomes more sensitive or aware, so as to decrease the intensity of trauma or stress. So your mind is basically using depersonalization to tell you that you are at the limit as far as fatigue, as far as anxiety, as far as worry goes. You are right there, and depersonalization is in fact the very thing that's keeping you from experiencing heightened symptoms from different areas, and therefore it is a warning sign. Depersonalization is your warning sign that you are so physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually fatigued, and you must get back to the fundamentals to take care of your anxiety first, your depersonalization second. This we must understand. Now, depersonalization is a condition consisting of a mix of emotions, physical sensations, and thoughts which trigger disengagement from the surroundings and a sense that one is not actually in your own body. Now, try explaining that to somebody. They're going to go, "Are you drunk? Did you drink this morning?" No, I didn't drink this morning, but I do feel drunk. That was, at least that was my experience. I felt like, why would I even have social drinks with friends and family members when I in fact feel dizzy and drunk already? So we must understand what depersonalization is. We must get back to the basics, which I'm going to explain later on, and we must tackle this head on. depersonalization can cause a variety of other symptoms. But the most common, guys, is the sensations of losing touch with reality and fearing that it may be permanently lost. Okay? So this we must understand. Emotional, verbal, or physical abuse during childhood or being a witness to constant domestic violence as a child can bring on depersonalization. Any sudden deaths or suicide in the family members, also the same thing. Growing up with a parent who is severely mentally impaired can in fact cause depersonalization. Extreme stress, like we mentioned, causing financial, relationship, or job issues can cause depersonalization. Now, guys, we know that depersonalization and anxiety go hand in hand. It's like salt and pepper. When I work with people one-on-one, the biggest complaint is depersonalization. The biggest complaint. The feeling of being detached from the body, being detached from the outside world, feeling like you're living in a bubble. Okay? Let's understand that depersonalization may be extremely distressing as it was for me for 6 years. It is not dangerous. Let me say that again. It may be extremely distressing, but it is not dangerous. What we must understand is we must stop fighting the condition, but learn to be okay with it. This is the message today. The more we fight depersonalization, the more we question it. The more we question whether or not we have a physical ailment that is attached to this, as far as our brain or our heart or our stomach, our intestines or our liver or whatever you want to bring up, it's going to keep feeding you the same symptom. We must understand that we have to stop fighting this condition, because I can tell you firsthand, even though I suffered from debilitating anxiety that almost got me to run my car over a bridge one day, I was contemplating this idea as I was a new father. I said, how am I going to be this father? How am I going to be this husband? How the heck am I going to keep a career, my goals, my relationships, my diet, my exercise, everything that I need to do to live a healthy and optimized life? How am I going to do this with depersonalization in the background? That is expecting a lot. When we try to handle all the different aspects of our life at one time, we run into trouble. We become overwhelmed. We become bewildered. We become more anxious, which causes more depersonalization. Let's understand this first and foremost, guys. Now, hyperventilation tends to worsen depersonalization because it worsens your anxiety symptoms. And it is during such heightened cases of anxiety that depersonalization occurs and continues to keep moving with you. So, one of the biggest causes I've found with depersonalization was the idea of shallow breathing and hyperventilation. We know that this goes hand in hand with our anxiety. Now, what can we do about it? First things first, I want you to grab a marker. Grab a marker and put the letter S on the front side of your hand. Okay, write the letter S in a big letter so you can see it throughout your entire day. You wake up in the morning and there is that S glowing right on your hand. The S is to remind you to slow down. Anxiety sufferers do everything at a supersonic speed, and they think that if they don't, they're not going to get the job done. There is a false reward system around stress and anxiety that our subconscious is in fact telling us if we don't speed up, if we don't worry, if we're not anxious, then we might lose control of our mind completely, our body completely. We might not be loved. We might not be loved by our parents, our friends. This is false. This is an illusion. This is a belief that you've been carrying around for way too long, and it is completely false. It is in fact the very thing that's keeping your anxiety alive. So when we slow down, when we focus in on either a 3-1-3 breathing pattern where I inhale for 3 seconds, I pause for 1, I exhale for 3, or I inhale for 4 seconds, I pause for 2, and I exhale for 4, whichever one feels more comfortable, and I do that in 10 repetitions throughout my day, I am slowing down. I am sending different signals to my subconscious mind. The signals are now that we are safe. Our body is safe. There is no threat. Okay? And when there is no threat, symptoms start to disappear. Okay? But when we hang on and when we remind ourselves that, you know what, if I don't worry or have anxiety, my life is going to go out of control, at least I know what to expect when I worry and have anxiety. What a backwards way of thinking. Think about it, guys. What a backwards way of thinking. This takes a leap. It takes a sufferer to in fact take a leap of faith and say, you know what? Worry is only holding me back. More anxiety is only holding me back. I am not in fact going to have financial freedom by worrying and having anxiety. Right? It's backwards, completely backwards. So we understand that hyperventilation tends to worsen anxiety and cause us panic attacks, and it's during such heightened cases of anxiety that depersonalization keeps going. This is the biggest message today. Now, deep breaths and practicing varied breathing exercises can help prevent frequent episodes of depersonalization. Now, I understand that when you go to a therapist, sometimes they give you a piece of paper and they say, okay, go home and meditate, or they'll give you a couple skills. No bashing the therapist. I love them. I've got so many friends and such, but they don't understand depersonalization if they've never gone through it. So I love the meditation idea. I love the yoga idea. I love the jogging idea and other exercises which will help you gain more control of the body and mind, and thus help prevent it from wandering off into an imaginative world, because that's what you're living in. You're living in an imaginative world. It's as if it's a fairy tale. I'm moving through life, seeing the trees, but I'm not sure if they're really there. I'm living in my bubble, and that's what depersonalization is. The only message that I want to give you guys today as far as taking care of depersonalization is writing down the letter S on your hand, slowing down, and that's all I want you to take from this episode. Why? Because we can get addicted to steps, knowledge, inspirational quotes, all these different things, and we tend to make things so complicated when in fact the problem in fact has a very simple solution behind it. We cannot look at our symptoms, our current reality in our lives, our problems, our challenges, and say, you know what? I'm alone in this. My problem is bigger than anybody else's. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many people I work with on a weekly basis? Over 40 people. Most of these people have depersonalization or some other type of symptom. So guys, don't think that you are the only one, that your anxiety is something different than everybody else, that it's something special, okay? You are a warrior. You are not a victim. I want you guys to start detaching from who you think you are and understand that it is something you're doing. It is something you are thinking. A thought is just a thought. A behavior is just a behavior. A friend is just a friend. We must start taking off this anxiety suit and start putting on a new suit once and for all. We cannot be caught up in anxiety for the rest of our lives and say, you know what, time will heal me. Time will not heal you. Knowledge and action will heal you. Habits will heal you. This is the truth. Okay? So from this episode, guys, get your marker out, put the letter S on your palm, start slowing down how fast you eat, how fast you drive, how fast you speak, how fast you walk, everything. Slow down. Gain some space between you and your critical mind so that you've got some space to think through things. What is the proper reaction to a symptom? What is the proper reaction to a criticism that someone said? How can I in fact deal with my past properly? What can I take that will serve me from the past? How can I reframe it? We must gather that space so that we can change our suit. We must put on a new suit, and it starts today, guys. I love you very, very much. Remember, you are more than anxiety. See you guys soon.
Thanks for being an important part of the Anxiety Guy podcast community. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a positive rate and review. If you're searching for further support on your road to recovery from anxiety, head over to anxietyexit.com and take part in the powerful End the Anxiety program based around the CBT model. If you're searching for a more one-on-one approach, you can sign up now for personal coaching sessions with Dennis via Skype. Remember, you are more than anxiety. See you in the next episode.